I wanted to get on today and talk a little bit about Memorial Weekend 36 years ago. And I believe I've probably had along my journey, I probably have a couple more posts from Memorial Day weekend. But it was probably at a time I was in a different state of mind. And so today I kind of wanted to talk about overcoming obstacles that were very traumatic, very detrimental, very life altering. And what happened in 1989 on Memorial Day weekend is after having a barbecue at the house, my mom decided to go to the store and um the truck lost control, the vehicle lost hi, good morning. Lost control. And so I'm on here. Thank you for jumping on. I'm on here just sharing about a more Memorial Day weekend experience that happened in 1989. But now that I'm on my journey of sobriety and in a different state of mind, I want to talk about it and express what it's done for me and where it's allowed me to become stronger in my decision making or even stronger in just my human interaction with other individuals. So she went to the store and the truck lost control. The seatbelt busted. She flew through the windshield, landed on a rock, and died at the scene. They did resuscitate her, and then she was in a coma and on life support. And after being on life support, um, they were given the opportunity to take her off. But she ended up surviving. And me and my dad, we spent some time in the hospital, a lot of time in the hospital, doing physical therapy, trying to exercise and do her cognitive memory, bringing it back through pictorial learning lessons. Um, and I, and, and so after um, her being able to come home, she lived 13 years as a quadriplegic with brain damage and memory loss. And so that put a damper on everybody's everyday activity, right? Um Hers, she had a job, my dad as a husband, as working, and had been sharing household chores and then went to becoming, a single father that had other responsibilities. Um, Me, I was 9, and so I went from a two-parent household to um two-parent household, but one that for one didn't remember who I was another day in her life. For two, who now I had to care for, um, medication, catheters, diapers, diaper changes, brushing teeth, showers, um again cognitive thinking, um trying to wrap my brain around the whole traumatic experience. Again, now I'm going back to, like, this was Memorial Day weekend. And so now that it's Memorial Day weekend in 2026, and that was in 1989, so much has changed since then. Um, a lot of a lot of my decision making based on like interacting with other people or not taking time for granted, so instantly, if you've ever experienced a traumatic experience, a, a traumatic situation, life altering situation, we tend to learn, but sometimes we don't learn how important time becomes, how important that last goodbye may be, how important the last interaction that you have with somebody, have you ever sat back and thought about how important that last interaction was to that person or to yourself after never getting to see them again? After never being able to talk to them the same way you were able to talk to them at the last time you got to see them. I encourage you guys to honestly sit back and think about a situation that you left with negative vibes, angry conversation, and just think if you were never to be able to see that person ever, never again, or if they would have never remembered who you were ever again, and that was the last memory that you had with them, what and how would you feel? Would you be like, oh, well, that's life and that's just the way it happens? Or would that affect you to your core that would make you do something different in life? Would it make you do anything different to your future? It did to mine. So I was angry at my mom when she left because I was 9 and I wanted to go, and the truck was a 3-seater. So, and it was already overpacked, and and at in the 80s you can sit in the back of the in the 80s you can sit in the back of the truck with you didn't have to have a helmet, or you didn't have to have a shell cover. um and and so I was mad at her. I was mad that she didn't let me go. So I walked in, slammed the door, and for her never to come back the same way, I learned something. I learned something major in my life, to never take time for granted, to never take a moment for granted, to not and do your best to not leave a situation angry. Um, because anger lingers and it turns into um sorry, anger does turn into behaviors that are unhealthy to yourself or to others. Later on in life, I ended up coping with probably the anger that I was still holding on to, and just still trying to adapt. Hi. The anger that I was still trying to adapt to as a adult. So, my mom, she finally passed away. I'm going back. I'm kind of jumping off topic because I'm trying to stay on this Memorial Day weekend of how important it should be for you to be with your family or do something fun. And for any reason things don't turn out the way you want them to be, or the party gets shut down early, just remember that the moments that you have with the people that you care about and that you want to be with or that you love, or those that you can't be near because they're so far away, just make the best of every moment, because every moment matters, every moment counts. um how instantly a moment can be taken away, and that's just the point of this video, is to not take a moment for granted. um I learned many, many lessons after she's been gone. I learned many lessons as she was a quadriplegic with brain damage and memory loss for 13 years. I learned a lot of things um, in how human behaviors happen, how they change, how greed and depression, anger, confusion all comes into play. I've learned many different behaviors of myself after that happened. Um, I had isolated for a very long time, and so I want to encourage those that have lost anybody on a Memorial Day. Um, Thank you for your services. Thank you for your service. And I pray for those families that have lost loved ones to Memorial Day. Um, and I just want to encourage you don't speak firecrackers. Can you hear me? Am I able to be like can you hear me clearly or am I breaking up? um so anyway, that's my message. Just love each other as best as you can. And even if you're not liking them, still love them. Um I'm gonna get on in a little bit and I'm probably gonna oh you can hear me. Okay, thank you. I was gonna go off because I wasn't sure if you could hear me, but thank you for answering. Um, oh, thank you. Okay, good. Because I've done a few karaoke videos and I've noticed that I'm like super, you cannot hear the song that I'm singing, which is probably a good thing. All right, I appreciate you. Thank you. And so again, back to the point of my video is not to take anybody for granted. Don't take people, don't take time for granted. Don't take your opportunities, your wins for granted. Don't take your losses for granted. So even when we're losing, we're still winning. If you don't understand the concept of that, try losing after winning. um and try winning after losing. Because even when we lose, we're winning. Because there's always somebody out there that is might be losing a little bit more than you are. And so that entitles you to be winning. um, so I'm gonna go into a little bit more of growth. Again, I'm trying to get back into my channel to the purpose of my channel and not distract it so much with my own distractions, which I found myself doing a lot recently is just distracting myself with karaoke or just other posts and not diving deep into the sobriety emotional roller coaster that I've been going through. um Everything might look like a highlight reel, right? Everything looks fun and everything looks great. And I'm not going to sit back and lie. It's been fun. It is fun. Every day is fun. I have 452 days sober today. And I am so in love with my life right now. Of course, with any other thing that goes on in life, there's always something that can be just a little bit better, just a little bit easier, just a little bit more prosperous. Um, but the ultimate creator has done amazing things in my life for me. I follow him. I believe in him. I love him. The creator of for me is Jesus Christ, God. And he's shown me a way of life to overcome trauma, overcome battles that a lot of people do not get to overcome. They do not live to overcome. A lot of people don't find the ways to break through trauma. And having the experience that I had at 9 allowed me to break through many, many trauma events that I've had. And has given me the strength and the ability to overcome these things. And I'm very grateful for the things that I've been encountered with, the people that have hurt me, the people that have been there through my pain. Um, I give so much grace and gratefulness to my children who love me still. And after making many mistakes in parenting's not always easy. Going back to losing a mom and having to um, grow up without her, having a beautiful woman step in and be part of my growth and my maturity and my motherhood. um it's never the same. It's never the same. I'm very grateful to her. um but it is never the same as having your biological mother there, I'm sure, or biological father. um but the great thing is that there are beautiful women out there that have been able to be part of my life and be a part of my growth and be a part of my maturity. And so it goes to, just show that no matter how hard life becomes, there there is some great outcomes to people who probably were expected to not turn out so good. I truly feel that um a lot of people probably thought I was gonna become less than I've become. Um, or maybe they even wished that I would become less than what I've become. But they don't know my God like I know my God, you know? So they can't, they could never determine what my future was gonna end up looking like. Again, like I had my moments of being angry with God. Honestly, I think I was about 12 years old. I had I had an aunt and uncle who was just trying to shove the word of God down my throat, right? Just try to push it, push it, push it, push it. And I was just like, I do not want to hear it. And but I'm glad that they did because they planted that mustard seed, right? They planted that mustard seed that flourished. It took a while, it took some time, but it flourished. It grew and grew and grew and grew, and it's grown so beautifully that my connection with my higher power is become so immaculate, so amazing. Um, it's also overcoming obstacles of believing in myself, of um you guys are welcome to ask any questions too if you want. This is just me being on live again, bringing every reason why I have my channel, talking about obstacles. And I'm sure I've spoken about my obstacles in the past, but I think it's good to revisit these obstacles because as time goes by in sobriety and as time goes by after healing, um, I think these talking about these obstacles become more clearer. Some things that might not have been said then are able to be said now. Healing takes a lot of time. Healing takes a lot of patience. Healing takes a lot from you in many different ways. And I say that with grace because I've I still carry a lot of hurt around. I still get angry. Um, I think the best thing for me though is that I'm not self-medicating. I'm not numbing those emotions, and that I actually sit with them. I process them. And being able to process an emotion when you'd rather just go slap somebody silly um is is a great accomplishment, is an amazing accomplishment, because not a lot of people can do that. Not a lot of people can sit on their hands and just wait it out. And I also wanted to talk about, I was in a church service last night at the Anchor, and I kind of wanted to talk about what the point of that service was. And it was, why do you run from me? And let me see, hold on, I'm gonna be right back. Let me look at it really quick. Why do you run from my presence, and why do you run from my command? And I can answer this on both sides, right? I ran from the presence because I knew and I felt I was sinning. In my addiction, I always felt like I wasn't being as pure as I could have been. Even though at that time I loved my addiction, I loved the fact that I was doing something that was not going to leave me. I was using something that made me feel safe and okay. I was using something that ultimately was mine. And all along that experience though, I was still believing and I was still in the word of God, although there was that slight guilt of, obviously I'm not being his purest child, you know. And I think that might be a lot of obstacles for different people, and they just don't know. When we don't know, we can use every excuse in the book to cover up for every reason why we're doing whatever we're doing. um Again, I'm not here to speak for anybody but myself, but coping and using alternative resources to um deal with pain or dismiss an emotion, um it becomes heavy sometimes. And again, being around certain individuals or had experienced other obstacles in life. This is why I'm in college, okay? Because my my I think I need to take more English classes because my English is really bad. But um my vocabulary is not up to par, okay? I was just talking to a client about this a little while ago. I was like, I can get my point across. I just might not make so much sense getting it across. But at least I have some sense, right? So, um, so going back to using and knowing that um my ultimate my my higher power desired me to become more than what I was becoming, you know. And unfortunately we adapt to our situations, you know. So and then we take for granted certain situations that we have. For example, I had a condo, I had cars, I had my children, I had my life going right, and then God's like, you still cannot, you're not doing it right. And so I asked him to remove all locusts from my life. And again, going back to the whole point of this video is that it's a Memorial Day weekend, and I wish you all the happiest, greatest Memorial Day weekend. Please be safe, drive safe, do not drink and drive. Enjoy every moment of it, make the best of it. Um, but so what's it kinda- this is how my brain is like, right? It's like always all over the freaking place. All over the place. Um and and I'll do the best to stay on track. And like I said, if you guys have any questions, please ask away. Um I'm just here killing time at the barbershop on a Memorial Day weekend. And everybody's out having a good time, but you know, like mama's got to pay the bills. So, um, so if anybody wants to help pay the bills, go ahead. I can shoot you my number. You can Apple Pay me anytime you want. Anytime you want. um, but Again, overcoming obstacles in see, I like lose my train of wherever the freak I was. um being in my being in my sobriety um has allowed me to achieve greater goals. Although in my addiction, and this isn't to boast or boost about the addiction that I was in, but the fact was that I was doing things in my addiction. Like I was working, like sometimes we become functional, very functional in the addictions that we are doing. Oh yeah, I'm in a barber shop. Yes. Um and and so I was going to college. I had many jobs. I've worked for Dodge City Chrysler Jeep. I sold cars. I worked for a bank. The bank, I wasn't yet in in and out of my addiction. So, my addiction came a little later after working at the bank. But I worked for a bank. I've sold cars. I've done marketing for Costco. I've done security. I did security for Bowery events and Coachella Fest for 2 years, tennis tournaments, golf tournaments, and helped individuals open their barbershops or salons. And I've worked at several different franchises and different shops. um I completed international school of beauty. I've completed other training programs. I have an ROP floral certificate. So I have many, many talents, and when addiction had come into my life and allowed me to cope in my emotions, um that's when in and out life, having these jobs, they didn't they yes, I had a job, but they, ultimately they didn't last very long. um so like I said, it's not here to boost or boast about the addiction. It's the fact that it's possible to have a very prosperous life in addictions, but if it is not properly, your emotions are not properly addressed, it will create a lot of gaps in between your jobs. It'll create a lot of gaps in between your life. um for me, I had 3 children to focus on, and so that always gave me a drive, that always gave me an incentive that I wasn't only providing for myself. um and then in and out of addictions, it you I had become selfish at times, because it's just what addiction does. It creates you it builds a very selfish entity within yourself. And to be able to overcome that, but also to be so selfish but yet selfless at the same time. Try that one. Try that one on for size, because I had been that. I think I'm still that sometimes. Because I don't know how to be completely selfish. I'm very selfless. Like I want to see people win. I want to see people succeed. I want people to strive to become a better them. I will always find something good in somebody, even the most even the people that can say everything bad about one person, right? I bet I can find some good in that person. And I think that's what's wrong with society, is that that's what they want to focus on. They want to focus on the negative. They want to focus on the bad. They want to focus on the mistakes. I made plenty. I made plenty, and maybe not everybody got an opportunity to see them. So what one person may think or feel about me or has seen in me isn't exactly what the next person has got to see or experience with me. And but I think the greatest thing about my life and my sobriety today and overcoming the obstacles of losing my mom um at such a young age is that um there you go, I freaking lost my train of thought again. All I hear is crickets. um so I think after going through that as a child and learning how to be responsible at such a young age has helped me to become the woman that I am today. Um yeah, it wasn't something that it ultimately ended up becoming just something that had to happen. Like not the incident itself, but the fact is that it happened. Like she was healthy 1 minute and then she wasn't, and so there was nothing that nobody can do to change it. It was what it was, and it is what it is. And after the accident, it you what a lot of people can do a lot of different things after an accident or after a trauma event. Everybody can go berserk and they can all life falls apart, but ultimately what happened you life has to carry on. And I've learned that. I've been able to learn that trait of in everything that has gone wrong, some right will come to it because wrong can't stay wrong forever. And right's not going to stay right forever either. So learning how to adapt to a situation in its purest form is the greatest achievement. And I've been able to do that by accepting what if it was a mistake, accepting the accident, accepting the loss, accepting the the hit, accepting whatever it was that I had to accept, learning how to accept it and learn from it and grow from it. And a lot of people, and I'm not going to say that I was never that. I was one that I could sit in my pity potty for a long time. And I'm grateful today that I don't need to sit in my pity potty. Like um I wanted and I needed somebody to hear me, and I wanted somebody to care for me and console me and this and that. But today, after not having that for so long, I've learned that the true consolidation comes from my higher power. Like, nonetheless, if there is not another human being on this planet, I know that my creator is going to help me heal internally and out. From internal, from the inside of my smallest vein pulse to the depth of my flesh. um my creator will be able to console me. He will be able to heal me. And I think if more of us understood that concept, we might be walking around just a little bit more happier. We might walk around with just a little bit more gratitude. We might walk around with just a little bit more love for other individuals, because to walk around with such hatred, honestly, I've learned to take the word hate out of my vocabulary a long, long time ago. I'm going to explain why is because the word hate, it's like eating trash. You're going to eat trash, right? You're going to eat trash. What happens? Your body's going to end up becoming trash, right? So if you continuously use the word hate in your vocabulary and in your mind and in your thoughts and in your dreams and your desires and people that you don't like or whatever, that's what becomes of your mind. That's what becomes of your behavior. That's what becomes of your nature. What becomes of of your being is hate. And the opposite of hate is love. And so I encourage those who use the word hate in their vocabulary more than they should. I encourage you, I challenge you to use love instead of like replace the word. Replace it with love. Like as much as you might hate something, replace it with love. Like love it so much. Um because it's it's a perspective. And you we can make everything look bad. We can make everything look bad. But why do we want to make it look bad when ultimately there's like such greatness in everything? Um Again, I probably went a little off topic, but here I go. I'm blah 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 blabbering. And I'll probably get on a little later. I just kind of wanted to talk about again overcoming trauma. It is a Memorial Day weekend. I didn't do this to bring sadness. Um I do this because I want to bring celebration. I want to bring celebration um to myself because I've come a long ways. I've overcome things that I thought forever and a day I would be self-medicating. I really thought at one point in my life that I would still be um that I was not going to give up my addiction. I was not going to give up the addiction. I told myself that I was going to do this for the rest of my life, and I'm so grateful that I've been able to overcome that thought process, those desires to had want to stay in addiction. I'm so grateful to the people that I've come in encounter with, um, all over, through social media, in person. Um, Life hasn't always been easy, and it's not gonna stay easy, and it's gonna get harder at times. But if I can encourage you to just keep going, keep a smile on your face, spread love, not hate. And always stay prayed up. Just keep something greater in your perspective, like in your eyesight, please. Um that's another thing I was gonna bring up, right? Why do you run? Because that was going on in the church right over there, the anchor. And last night I sat in a service and I was very happy that I went in. I needed it. I needed the word. And I find word different ways on social media, but sometimes human interaction and receiving the word is so different. So different than just this technical difficulty technology. So but why I believe why we run from his presence is because he puts fear in us. I believe that God puts fear in our spirit, in our soul. And if we are not living life to its fullest, purest capacity, we are going to try and run from his presence. And so I think that's what happens is that when a good person or someone who is sharing the word or the presence of God comes in in a person's um place, that they become scared, they're afraid. And I would like to encourage anybody and everybody to not be afraid of God's presence. Even if you're a non-believer, don't be afraid of his presence. If you don't believe, then there's nothing to believe in, right? If you don't believe in him. And I say that with all due respect because I get it. I understand that sometimes we've either gone through things or we're taught that God is irrelevant. And you can think that way. And that's I think that's the greatest thing about my belief is the fact that I believe in whatever it is that you believe in. If you believe that there's no God, then I'm with you. I know what I believe, but I can side with you. I can understand you, and I can surely still sit with you if you don't believe like I believe. And I think a lot of people, they are not able to do that. When you're in religion, when you're a true Christian, you can sit with anybody and anything. As long as you're pure in your belief, you can sit with the devil right next to you and you will be okay. And I think more of us need to believe that. Sit with the devil. Sit with him. Let him know your presence. Let him know God's presence. Let him know that you're not afraid and that they shouldn't be either. God bless you guys. I'm gonna get off right now. Have a beautiful, blessed day. I'm sure I'm gonna be right back on. I'm gonna be on y'all ass. Peace out. Stay prayed up. God bless. It's your girl Ro. You already know.